Hello everyone, welcome to my channel JEE and Olympiad Physics with Anirudh Jain. This is Advanced Illustration 4 of Fluid Mechanics. This is a very nice problem that I've taken from the book Pathfinder. So let's look at the problem. So here you've been given a uniform sphere and another hemisphere of the same material of density sigma. The value of sigma is given 5 gram per centimeter cube, and the radius r equals 30 centimeter, are placed in a vessel as shown in figure. So here you can see there is a sphere and then there is a hemisphere, and they're placed in a vessel. The densities and radii of both are given. In the vessel, water is filled up to a height r. Now, since the radius is r, and water is filled up to a height r, so that means this sphere is half submerged, while the hemisphere is completely submerged. All right, this hemisphere is completely submerged. Now the sphere, there is no water or air under the hemisphere, so that is a very important point. There is no water or air under the hemisphere, and the sphere and the hemisphere both are connected with vertical threads. Here you can see there are two vertical threads to the ends of a light rod AB. So here you have a light rod AB of length 116 centimeters having a hinge O. So this right here is a hinge. Find the distance of the hinge from the end A. So you're supposed to find this particular distance. Let's call this distance X from the end A, so that when an upward minimum pull is applied at the hinge, so you're pulling at this hinge with, let's say, certain force F, the sphere and the hemisphere both simultaneously leave the bottom of the vessel. Okay, so if both the sphere and the hemisphere leave the vessel simultaneously, what you'll observe is that the rod is not going to rotate. So if, for example, if the sphere leaves first, you would see that the rod will rotate like this, clockwise. And if the hemisphere leaves first, you would see that the rod would rotate like this. So what you want is the rod shouldn't rotate. So that would only happen if the torque about the hinge, let's say this is the force that you're applying, the torque about this hinge should be zero. So what are the forces acting at these two ends? Here there is a tension. Let's call this tension T1. And this is T1. And let's say the tension on this string is T2. So this is T2. And you've been asked to find this distance X. So let's call this distance X. And so this distance becomes L minus X. So first thing that you can say here is, before we get into any of the concepts of fluid mechanics, is that if you want both the sphere and the hemisphere to leave simultaneously, the rod shouldn't rotate, and that would happen only if T1x is equal to T2 times L minus X. Now all you have to do is find the values of T1 and T2. Once you find the values of T1 and T2, you can substitute it here and find the value of X. All right, so that is the whole framework of solving this particular problem. So how do we find T1 and T2? And you have to treat this in equilibrium. So how do I get that point? So it's a minimum pull. So if you're pulling with a minimum force, you could just argue that both the sphere and the hemisphere are momentarily in equilibrium. All right. So let's see how we can do that. All right. So let's look at the sphere first. Okay, let's find T1 first. So what are the forces acting on the sphere? The first force that's acting on the sphere is its weight. The other force that is acting on the sphere is the buoyancy. So let's call that FB, or just F. All right, FB. And the tension force T1. All right. So here I could write T1 plus the buoyancy FB is equal to the weight. All right. T1 plus buoyancy is equal to the weight. Now, what would the buoyancy be? The buoyancy would be equal to the weight of the liquid that is inside or submerged inside the liquid. All right. So this would be T1 plus what is the weight of the liquid, weight of the liquid that has been displaced by this particular volume. So that would be density of the liquid, let's call the density rho, times half of the sphere, that is 2 by 3 pi r cube times g, that is your buoyancy. And what's the weight of the sphere? That is sigma times the volume of the sphere, that is 4 by 3 pi r cube times g, right? So from here, I would get T1 is equal to 2 sigma minus rho times 2 by 3 pi r cube times g. So that is your T1 tension. All right. So that is tension T1. Next, we'll try to find what is the tension T2 here. So this is the tension T2. Now, what are the forces acting on the hemisphere? First of all, there is the weight and the force exerted by the liquid. Now, I've already taken up an example where I've shown you how to find the force exerted by the liquid in such a case. So that is the weight of the liquid that is just above it, right? So you're supposed to find the weight of this particular liquid, Now, the key point here is that there is no air or water below the hemisphere, so there is no force acting from here. Obviously, there is a normal reaction, but there is no component of or contribution of liquid pressure or atmosphere acting from the bottom. And just as you lift, what you'll see is that the pressure, the force due to the atmospheric pressure from up and down would cancel out, because just as you lift, there'll be a small layer of air, and you could say that it cancels out. This is a dilemma, by the way, in the book, and I've asked the author himself, author of the book, and he's given me that explanation. So we'll move with that explanation. All right. Now, so you're supposed to find the weight of this particular part of the liquid. So let's do that. So here you will have T2 plus, sorry, here you would have T2 would be equal to W plus the force by the liquid. All right, force by the liquid. This is not buoyancy. The force by the liquid is only acting downwards. Okay, this is the force by the liquid. So what is the weight of the hemisphere? That is going to be sigma times 2 by 3 pi r cube times g plus the force by the liquid, that is going to be density of the liquid times the volume. Volume is simply volume of the cylinder. Here you can see there is a cylinder of height r and radius r. So volume of the cylinder, which is pi r square times r, minus the volume of the hemisphere, that is 2 over 3 pi r cube, this times g. All right. So when you solve this, what you would get is T2 is equal to, here you can see that this is pi r cube minus 2 by 3 pi r cube. So that is simply 1 by 3 pi r cube. All right. And you can take 1 by 3 pi r cube g common. So you would end up with 2 sigma plus rho times pi r cube g by 3. All right. So that is your T2. and this is your T1 and T2. So going back to our original equation, what we thought of solving, that is T1 times X equals T2 times L minus X. So if we solve that, just plug in these values, you could see that pi r cube G by 3 would get cancelled, and you would have 2 sigma minus rho times 2, this 2 times X is equal to T2. The only thing remaining in T2 would be 2 sigma plus rho times L minus X. All right. So all you need to do is plug in these values. So if the value of sigma is 5, and let's assume the value of rho is, that is liquid density of the liquid is 1. So this would be 10 minus 1, that is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. So 18x is equal to, this is 10 plus 1, that is 11 times L minus X. So if you just open the brackets, you would see that it is going to be 18x plus 11x, that is 29x, is equal to 11 times L. So X is going to be equal to 11 into 116 by 29, and when you solve this, 29 times 4 is 116. So you would get X is equal to, this X is equal to 44 centimeters. So that is your answer to this problem. I hope you enjoyed this problem. There is a dilemma here, that why didn't we take the atmospheric force due to atmospheric pressure here. And I think most of the problems in the Pathfinder book, they are ignoring that particular force. And I asked the author himself, and he said that the explanation given by him was that just as this hemisphere lifts up, the pressure, the effects due to the atmospheric pressure would cancel out. So anyway, just ignoring the atmospheric pressure from above, if you solve this, you would get the answer given in the book, that is 44 centimeters. So hope you enjoyed this particular problem. See you in the next video.